Ooh, this is the countdown part.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Old World Tech Fridays.
Good evening.
We're late. We were waiting on Trina. And we're still waiting on Trina.
We're still waiting on Trina. Anyway,
Yep.
It's good to see everybody here this evening. It's good to see you, Frank. How has your week been?
Not too bad. A little hectic, but not too bad. Yourself?
Awesome. Pretty good. It's been a busy week at the school. It's been a busy week in the company. It's overall been a very busy week. Thank God it's Friday. That's all I can say.
Exactly.
Indeed.
Exactly. I look forward to Friday every day.
Yes. I always say, or I always make the joke, and we've talked about this before, where I say it's a week of Mondays. I want a week of Fridays.
Yeah,
When's that going to happen?
Use a week of Fridays or a few weeks of Fridays. Absolutely.
Yes.
Who do we got in the chat, Ryan?
This evening we have, right off the bat, we have Frank S. He was here before everybody else. And then, not to be outdone, Jesus Christ himself was second. So
that's right. This was his second coming because he did post 2 right in a row messages.
Correct. He did, yes.
Yep.
And then we have Scarlet the Four-Eyed Cuda, followed by one Garth Beagle, followed by an Eric Rangel. Hey, Garth. Hey, Eric. K-Mac Vintage is here. Hey, Will. We also have a Sloppy Malabom. Sloppy Malabom. I don't know what that is.
Oh, interesting.
We have a Retro Techie. And I think that's everyone. Oh, Rudy slipped in here last minute. Hey, Rudy. Yeah, that's true, Eric. That's what I've been told. We also have CDI slipping in there just in the nick of time.
Hello, CDI.
Hello, everybody. So thanks for being here. We know you have your choice in your. You were going to say the exact same thing.
Exactly.
We know you have choice in your Friday evening entertainment. Thank you for choosing us.
That's right. I remember watching TGIF here in the States on Fridays.
We watched it too. It was religious for us.
Oh, us too, yeah. I mean, I can remember going over to my grandparents' house and watching with my aunt TGIF. At the time, it was, let's see, Saved by the Bell, Step by Step, Family Matters, Full House, Dinosaurs,
Boy Meets
World, yep.
And Home Improvement.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, there was quite a few.
Yeah.
And then I remember later, a few years later, they started Nickelodeon had the Nick at Night, where they did like the Goosebumps and things like that, the spooky shows.
Now, did you guys get Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Wasn't sure.
Yep, that was cool. I remember that.
And there was, of course, the short-lived Erie, Indiana. I don't know if you remember that one.
Yep.
It was only one season, but it was like 20-odd episodes. That was quite good. But yeah, I remember Friday nights we'd all head down where I grew up, and we would head down. So myself and my neighbor, who was she was the same age as me, and then our other neighbor who lived down the street, who was a year older than us, we'd all head to their house, and our parents were all friends. So they'd go down and they'd be playing cards and they'd be, drinking and socializing and doing the usual Friday night stuff. And us kids would be in the basement. And it turned out the girl who lived in this house, Megan, who's the year older than me, she had an N64. So we watched all those TV shows and we played a crap ton of Mario 64.
Oh,
I remember that was quintessential. And before that, we had a Genesis. And my other neighbor, Courtney, who lived next door to me, she had the Genesis cable channel, where you got the games delivered right to your Genesis through the cable TV. So that was pretty baller. I remember that being a fantastic time.
Very similar to the Naboo network.
Yeah, very similar to the Naboo network. In fact, one might argue that it was the natural progression or the spiritual successor to the Naboo.
Francois, you didn't miss much in the intro. All we did was said Trina didn't show up.
Yeah. And now we're talking about ABC's TGIF.
Yep, from the 90s.
It's from the 90s. And playing N64. And then a couple years later, I think she picked up a copy of GoldenEye, and then, of course, we played GoldenEye.
I was just going to say that. The most memorable 64 cartridge I've played was the 007 GoldenEye. Like, my brother and I would play split screen.
I would say a few years later, so when I got to high school, so around 2001, 2002, I had friends who still had N64s. They were considered an old console at that point because the PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 had just come out and the Xbox had just come out. And so they were considered old consoles. But I remember my buddy, one of my best friends, Cody, got a copy of Conker's Bad Fur Day. And that is an amazing game. I highly recommend it to everybody. It is terribly inappropriate. It's like Happy Tree Friends before Happy Tree Friends existed. It's so good. Anyway, we digress a little bit here. I mean, it is sort of tech adjacent, I suppose.
That is true.
So I guess we'll kick off this evening with everybody's favorite, event, which is
This Week in Tech History. April 18th, 1983, the Osborne Computer Corporation officially announced the Osborne Executive portable computer, the follow-up to its extremely successful Osborne 1. I believe that was the tail end of last week as well.
It was, yeah.
So I remember reading that. April 18th, 1986, the first megabit chip in commercial product. Newspapers reported the IBM's Model 3090 mainframe has become the first commercial computer to use a megabit chip memory. That one also was on last week. Okay, a new one. Zoom lenses come to TV. April 19th, 1947. The first public demonstration of a prototype Zoom-R lens is conducted inside Studio 3H at NBC's Rockefeller Plaza headquarters in New York City.
Nice.
By Frank G. Back and promoted by investor firm and television producer Jerry Fairbanks. The Zoom-R lens would become the first commercially successful zoom lens. Version for film cameras would be used by Paramount later that year to cover the 1947 World Series. Let's see. Moore's Law was published April 19th, 1965. The electronic magazine publishes an article by Gordon Moore, head of research and development for Fairchild Semiconductor, and future co-founder of Intel, on the future of semiconductor components. In the article, Moore predicts the transistor density on an integrated circuit will double every 18 months for at least the next 10 years. This theory will eventually come to be known as Moore's Law and is largely held true to this day. Although controversy exists over Moore's Law remains applicable, however, time will tell just how long Moore's Law will continue to remain true.
And if you happen to be Team Green and a NVIDIA fanboy, you may also be aware that only NVIDIA users can ignore Moore's Law now, because only NVIDIA users know that it's dead.
April 20th, 1940, demonstration of the first practical electron microscope. That is really cool. Vladimir Zworskin, research director at RCA, holds a public demonstration of the first practical electron. I kept thinking it said particle, but it says practical electron microscope. While the electron microscope had originally invented in 1931, the first model was only able to produce magnification up to 400 times. RCA's model was the first to create magnification of 100,000 times. This early model was 10 foot high and weighed a half a ton. Holy crap. That's heavy. Let's see. April 20th, 1998. Windows 98 is plug and during the Comdex Spring 1998 and Windows World Show in Chicago. A public demonstration of the soon-to-be-released Windows 98 goes awry when Bill Gates' assistant causes the operating system to crash after plugging a scanner in. Instead of showing... Go ahead.
I remember that. No, I was going to say, I believe Jay Leno was there, too, on stage and said, somebody's getting fired.
Yeah, it says instead of showing the plug-and-play capabilities they were trying to demonstrate, a blue screen of death is visible by the entire audience, which immediately erupts in laughter. After several seconds, Bill Gates famously responded, "That must be why we're not shipping Windows 98 yet." Ironically, the assistant, Chris Capicella, has moved up the executive ranks at Microsoft all the way to executive vice president and chief marketing officer for Microsoft. Hopefully he'll present a much better marketing image than he did on that fateful day.
That's funny.
The blue screen of death. April 21st, 1988, the Tandy Corporation holds a press conference to announce plans to build clones of the IBM PS2 computer.
Release the clones.
Yep, it was the Tandy 5000 MC. Here we go. Mosaic 1.0. April 22nd, 1993, version 1.0 of the web browser Mosaic is released by the National Center for Supercomputing Applications. It's the first software to provide graphical user interface for the emerging World Wide Web, including the ability to display inline graphics. The lead Mosaic developer is Mark Anderson, Andreessen, one of the future founders of Netscape.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Cool.
Let's see. April 23rd, 2005, the first video was published on YouTube. The first video uploaded to YouTube is me at the zoo.
Allegedly.
April 23rd, 2005 at 8:27 p.m. by co-founder Jawed Karim.
Yeah.
For now being a piece of history, the video is pretty dumb. Note the future entrepreneurs, what you do may be for posterity, so choose wisely.
So there's actually a bit of contention with whether or not that was the first video, because I watched a documentary on what if it is the first video. Allegedly, the other founder
yep,
was uploading videos throughout the week prior to that video being uploaded for testing purposes, but was hard deleting them from the code after just for testing purposes. So allegedly there is another video which we've never seen, nobody's ever seen, that is technically the first video uploaded to YouTube.
Well, that makes sense, though.
Yeah.
And our last one, April 24th, 1984. On the same day, Apple introduces the Apple IIc computer, announces Mac sales numbers, and discontinues the Apple III line. All on the same day.
Wow.
The Apple IIc was Apple's first attempt at a portable computer. Dealers placed orders for more than 52,000 units on the first day. Apple also announces that over 60,000 Macs have been sold since their introduction in January of that year. In contrast, the Apple III line only sold an estimated 120,000 units in the 4 years since it was introduced, losing Apple about $60 million in total. Wow. So, yep, all three on the same day in 1984. Wow. And that's this day in tech history.
So when they announced the cancellation of the Apple III, did they drop it on the floor? Was the announcement dropped?
I don't know.
3 feet.
That would make sense
to make sure that it worked properly.
That way it sinks in.
Yeah. Actually, we were talking the other night, a couple of friends and I, about the fact that like there doesn't seem to be a lot of aftermarket parts for the VIC-20. Like the VIC-20 doesn't seem to have a lot of followers, and I explained basically for every one VIC-20 that was made, or like 10 or 15 Commodore 64s.
Yeah.
And so we got to discussing, well, why do we think that was? And anyway, it was interesting going through and seeing like what is considered the rarest Commodore. So we went through, besides ones that are like prototypes and ones that are, are just like
actual released ones,
like actual released made. Like there were molds made. It was factory release. What is the actual rarest Commodore product? And it looks like it's actually the SX64.
Really?
There were only 9,000 units made in its short lifetime. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it was kind of neat. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
That is pretty neat.
So I own one of 9,000.
Anything exciting from this week?
Rare was this Commodore Super Pet. Yeah, no, we're referring to the like 64 line. Like what in that lineage is considered the rarest of the 64s. So like there's also that prototype, was it a 65 that was produced with a built-in tape drive, or not built-in floppy disk?
Oh yes.
The 8-bit guy had
on the 8-bit guy. Yep.
Yeah. The 8-bit guy had like the prototype on it, but there's only like 2 or 3 of them. But that was never actually production. That was just something that fell off the back of the truck when the company shut down. And it's not really finished.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So did you get anything neat this week?
I picked up a couple of actually I got to pick them up tomorrow. A couple of mid-90s towers. I don't know if you saw that in the chat.
Yeah, I thought that was very cool.
Yeah, so a friend of mine who runs a phone repair company. He repairs iPhones and Samsungs and all that kind of stuff. He also does a little bit of surface mount soldering. He's got he's got a couple of guys that work for him that can do fix MacBooks that have water damage and that kind of stuff. But he also does a little bit of PC and Mac repair, just normal virus scan, that kind of stuff. Anyway, he's been collecting a pile of what he deems e-waste for the last probably 2 or 3 years. Anyway, he messaged me on yesterday and said, "Hey, would you like to come? Would you like these things?" And of course, I can't say no. So they're going to pick them up tomorrow. But it turns out one of the cases that I found is actually Gut Bomb's case that he had in the 90s. So,
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, we're going to I'm going to box it up when I get it, and I'm going to pull out the Pentium 2 or whatever's in it, Pentium 3.
Send the case,
and I'm going to pack the case full of goodies, and then put it inside a case box and ship it down to him.
Awesome.
To answer Retro Techie's question, no, he didn't have a Vectrex. And I told you, the last Vectrex I got, I blew up.
I got a few things this week, but I have something really neat.
Oh, yes.
A BBC Micro.
A BBC Micro. BBC
like
1,
like new.
BBC 2, BBC 3.
Super duper clean.
Yeah, very clean. Like I was telling you, I vaguely remember watching a documentary years ago about the BBC Micro, and I felt like the BBC was stuck with a bunch of them towards the end. Like everybody moved on to something else, and they just had a lot of new inbox stock.
I wouldn't surprise me. I was shocked at how clean that thing is. It literally looks brand new. So I got that, turned it on, fired it up, came right up. So the seller that sold it from the UK, I purchased it from the UK. They shipped it over here, and he had already recapped the computer completely. Nice. So everything should be pretty fresh.
That's awesome. I love when people recap things.
I'll have to watch your video, but I have quite a few different BBC computers. So I have a step-up transformer that I use because my Electron uses the 220 plug. And I have
have you looked at see if you
supplies?
Have you looked to see if you can just replace those with a standard like ATX Pico or some sort of modern power supply that does 110, 115?
I don't know. I'll have to watch Rudy's video.
Oh.
Yeah, Rudy did a video on how to convert.
How to convert? I didn't even see that there. Cool.
Yeah. So I'm gonna check it out and take a look, but I don't have to convert it though, because I do have the inline step-up transformer.
Yeah, but it's a pain in the ass. I have to pull out another piece of equipment to make it work.
It is. Yes.
Oh.
You can just put in a jumper apparently.
Put in a jumper. There you go.
So that's easy. Yeah, I'll have to take a look at that because I wonder if the same. So I have an Electron that also does the same thing. Also built by Acorn, so it could be just as simple as the same solution. So I'm going to look into that. I also have an Amiga 500 power supply and a 1200 that uses that, and then the Acorn 7000, 7000 plus, 5000, the 3010. It also has the 220 volt plug. Most of that stuff I buy comes from the UK. So they all have the 220 plugs.
Of course.
Yep.
Awesome.
Hey, John, I didn't even see you slip in here.
Yes, you just slipped in there just a second to tell us how awesome Rudy is. We know Rudy is awesome.
Rudy is awesome. He's got
the unofficial king of Canada.
That's right.
After Charles.
Well, I heard some not so good news. So.
Yeah, we might be having a prince or king. William? No, Harry. No, William. So
I think this will be the most coronations in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's like when all the popes get colds.
I know, right? Everybody's getting nervous. So that came this week. A couple upgrades for it came this week.
Cool.
I don't remember. I think the 3010 came this week, or maybe it came last week. I don't remember.
I know what else came this week. I have yet to pick them up. We're going to pick them up again tomorrow. But
what's that?
The stickers for Don't Mess with Retro.
Oh, yes.
Don't F with Retro.
That's right. That's exciting.
Printed. So I've got 100 of each. So I'll be bringing some to VCF Midwest. But if anybody wants some in the meantime, I can always throw them in an envelope and fire them your way.
Speaking of, Dave did a follow-up video for those who didn't see it.
And I'm wondering, did you watch it? I haven't watched it yet.
I watched it, yes.
Okay. Any new news?
No, he was just following up on
just to keep things fresh.
Yep, exactly.
Cool.
And relevant.
And in your own words, I mean, we don't want to get too deep into an active investigation, but have you made any progress or had any updates?
Yeah, things are in the works. Things are in the way as far as out that neck of the woods. Yeah. So waiting to hear back on a couple things. Also talked to somebody else that's got stuff in the works. Cool. And they had heard some good news as well. So there's definitely a lot going on.
Okay.
It's just slow. I mean, the only thing is the process is slow.
I noticed our number of active viewers has jumped to 18, so I can only assume that certain people are watching. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely, could be.
We're coming for you.
Wouldn't be surprised. That's right. So, let's see. Retro Techie. He wants you to send him some stickers in a box with a Commodore 64.
How about? I can send you a piece of a Commodore 64. Do you want this piece, or do you want?
That is a good piece. That's a good piece. Wait, will the sticker fit on that piece? You could put the sticker on that piece.
Maybe we'll put the sticker on this piece, and I'll send it to you. I'll put a little hole in it to make a nice keychain.
Rudy said he's watching.
Good times.
Trying to think. I don't know what happened with Trina. She was on the thing earlier. And
she fell asleep. She ate some pizza. She had some questionable Hawaiian pizza and hot wings. And I feel like she went to sleep.
She napping. Yeah.
It's okay. It's all good.
It happens.
My computer just told me there's breaking news.
I'm trying to think.
There is no breaking news.
So I have to recap the Acorn 3010. And it's not too bad. It's 43 capacitors on the board. So I put a BOM together. So I got to get on and order some.
Okay.
Some
where do you usually order them from?
Mauser or DigiKey, one of the two. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, I'll also point out I have a bunch of these guys if anybody wants one.
What is that?
It's a client gave me a box of them. It's a cell phone holder.
Oh, no kidding.
Screw it to the wall. It's got like a plate that you can.
That's cool.
That you can screw to the wall. Hold on. Give me a second.
Now that makes me ask the question. If the client had a bunch of those, what is it they used them for?
So the client in question is they're a REIT, they're a realty holding company.
Oh, okay.
And so they had one of their clients leave without paying rent, so the entire contents of the rental was it's a commercial rental, and this person made software. So these were actually used to mount tablets that ran the software.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was like a point of sale software.
That's pretty cool.
But I've got a bunch, and I've been using them as for my Droid Cam. So I just put
that's a good idea.
My camera in there, and I can just kind of set this somewhere, and
that's pretty neat. I think
I got like 100 of them, maybe.
Wow, holy crap!
Yeah.
Rudy says he could use 2 of them. He wants to buy a couple.
Well, Rudy, you can have them, and I'll just ask you to pay shipping. That's all.
There you go. You got it.
I'm not one to make money off stuff, so if it came to me free, then it goes out the door free. Unless it's a Vectrex, in which case, Retro Techie, you can pay me $800 Canadian or $600 US.
Cool.
All right. So, I just really want to touch base. I'm actually a Retro Techie. See, what Retro Techie actually wants is just up here a little bit. Just look up a little bit. See that box on top of the game console or the arcade game?
I can see it.
It's a Commodore 64 in the box.
Oh, nice.
It's very nice. I just bought it at the auction. I'm actually working on something with. I've been reached out to a couple of different lawyers. I want to do a little talk about what should happen to our collection should something happen to us, and more like talk about estate planning, but specifically, Retro Tech and I were talking about it earlier today, and it got me thinking. It's a topic we've discussed briefly
Yep.
Previously.
Numerous times, yeah.
But I actually would like to reach out. I have a couple of lawyer friends, and I wouldn't mind reaching out to them to kind of give me some guidance, to sort of say, what are some of the things we as a community should let everybody know? Like, how do we make sure that our collections end up in the right hands? Because we've all seen time and time again where collections either end up in the dump or they end up in, bad actors' hands, or
Sure.
they get divvied up amongst family members who then throw them on eBay, and maybe that's not the wishes of the person who just passed, but unfortunately they're not around to defend their collection.
Yep. Because to a lot of people, who don't know,
it's just junk.
Spouses, yeah, this is a bunch of junk, I got to get rid of now.
Right, like my wife has a basic understanding that there is value there, but beyond that, there, much like my car collection,
mine too.
There's value there, but there's what is the value, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Eric's wondering, like, could you donate it to certain groups, right? When I go, I'm gonna have
my pyramid and take my computers with me. Like the episode of Futurama with Bender.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
That's a good idea.
But yeah, so I'm going to actually do a little bit of research and do a bit of discussion. I may invite some of maybe in a coming episode, invite some lawyer friends on to discuss estate planning, but specifically when it comes to it's easy to distribute money, it's easy to distribute art, it's easy to distribute other things, but retro tech is hard to distribute, especially if you live in an area where your only connection to the hobby is through means like this. Right, like in my area, there's maybe 5 guys, 6 guys who are really big into the hobby, and then there's probably 200 or 300 others who are, they have a Commodore 64, or they might, they have nostalgic feelings for a Commodore or another type of computer, but they don't necessarily have a big collection like we do.
Sure.
So trying to make sure that it gets divvied up and sent to the right places, and or the opposite of that, or the sort of the other way to think of that is, starting a trust. So putting things in trust, and then maybe building a museum out of it. My end goal or my end game is that by the time I'm set to retire, if I ever do retire, but by the time I reach 50, 55, I would like to have established a self-sufficient place where my stuff can be, and in the event I don't exist anymore, it continues on without me.
That's true. Absolutely.
Right. So, it's something to think about. Retro Tech, you mentioned me today, and it's always been something that's been on the back of my mind. And, it also encompasses other areas of my life with, again, related to my car collection, to my retro tech. What happens to it when I go? Because also you don't want to be a burden on your family. Because let's be honest, if my wife had to deal with this, it'd be a burden.
Yep. So like you, Will is also on an island.
On an island, yeah.
So that makes it difficult to get to other people.
Right. But again, if you preemptively make sure that you have things earmarked and that there's a very easy system, whether it's a spreadsheet or Google Doc or something that has, item, serial number, and destination.
So there you go. If you make up a spreadsheet or Google Doc, make it public.
Yeah.
You put the QR code, get a QR code for the link, and you tattoo that on your body.
Right.
So then when you're
really wrinkly,
they just scan you.
They stretch your skin after you die because you're real wrinkly, and then they scan it with the phone.
They scan it and be like, oh, okay, so this is what we do with this stuff. Exactly.
But
see, that's a thing too, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. That's sort of
what got me thinking. What brought it up the last time too.
Yeah.
That we talked about it last year was the same. Yep.
Yeah. See, Retro Techie has a notepad file that says basically, "Do not sell my TAM to me."
I have a TAM, and it's one of them things. Like, it was really cool to get, and it's like, okay, I used it a couple times, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm bored now. It's cool, but it really doesn't do a whole lot, especially since it lacks networking and some other stuff, Yeah.
Jesus Christ makes a good point. Maybe by that time you'll have transformed your brain into an AI model, which will be able to answer the questions. I'm not Ryan, but I play him on a computer.
Oh, that's true too.
This Coco with the passing of Steve. Okay. So like, and you know what? I'll be honest, a lot of graybeards are in the hobby, so it's only going to become more and more of a problem.
But even with us, I mean, we're just a few months apart.
Right.
Nobody plans on dying, you know, like
no.
you don't plan it. It happens.
But you should plan for death.
It happens.
Right.
You know, so it's nobody plans on it happening soon. So it's always one of them things where it gets put off and like, yeah,
I'll do it later kind of thing.
Yeah, I'll figure it out. And then, you know, you're already gone, and it's
then you're one late. Bad McNugget away from death by botulism.
That's right. So yeah, we'll have to actually, you know, being that we've mentioned this several times and last year, you know, over the year and stuff, it would be a good idea to actually do something serious with it for the benefit of everybody.
If we record it, then at least it can be shared around the community.
Exactly.
And so what I may end up doing is, because Canada and the United States have very similar but not exactly the same laws when it comes to estate planning and stuff. What I may end up doing is I may get a Canadian lawyer's take on it, and then maybe engage. I jokingly think maybe I could get the Legal Eagle to help us. I don't know if you watch the Legal.
You know
Eagles.
What? we'll have to look up their number for single female lawyer.
Single female lawyer.
Yeah, from Futurama.
It's on Omicron Persei 8. It's the most famous show.
It is the most famous shows. They'll have a way to contact her. We'll have to ask a real lawyer's take on this. Single female lawyer.
Single female lawyer. But speaking of which, if you guys haven't ever watched the Legal Eagle or Eagle Legal, I can't remember his name. I say he's young. He's probably in his late 40s. He's a great legal YouTube channel, and he always discusses sort of like the cases of the day. Definitely recommend him. Much like the lockpicking lawyer. Maybe we'll get him on.
Oh yeah, that's interesting too. My stuff will go to Retro Techie, cash and carry.
He pays cash and I carry. It's good.
I'll take all the cash I can carry from your home. Oh my gosh.
Good times.
But no, it is a very serious topic that we should definitely look into.
Yeah,
for the benefit of everybody. Yeah,
and it might be a nice thing then to, if it becomes something that's usable and popular, we can present it at Midwest, or even, like you said, Kansas Fest, or welcome to my TED Talk kind of thing.
Yeah, and we'll do it so that you don't have to, because God forbid one of the graybeards goes and starts Googling stuff like this, and then their significant others like, oh my God, they got like some terminal illness or something. Tell me about it. We don't want to spook anyone or cause any alarms to go off.
Yeah, I don't want any I don't want any letters or emails or carrier pigeons.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna send out the ravens. Oh my gosh. But yeah, like again, it's a very serious topic that really we should cover, and try to get as much information in one place to make it as easy as possible for people to find resources and information, whether it's the route of donating to one of the VCFs or K-Fest or whatever, or friends or relatives, or
and I think it'll
an auction, rummage sale, whatever.
Yeah, and ultimately I think it'll be a mixture of all 5 of those things. Like it'll be leave some to museums, give some to friends, give some to family, because some of us have kids. I don't, but like you have kids. I'm sure Liam would want to keep some of your collection.
Sure.
Right. Yep. I'm sure there are things he'll remember as being nostalgic for him, that I'm thinking that iMac, the G3, he likes playing those video games.
Yep.
Right. So stuff like that you'll want to keep.
I think I'm gonna just coat the entire shed with amber, and then let it preserve like they did with the mosquito on Jurassic Park.
Right.
And then they'll have an archaeological dig at one point and just find it all preserved. Trina had a gray beard last week. That is true.
Trina did have a gray beard last week.
We had faux Trina.
Yeah. I can't believe it's not Trina. Trina substitute.
That's right.
But yeah, so that was sort of my thoughts for this week, and it's been a hectic week, so I didn't really have a lot planned for this evening. But when Retro Techie mentioned that, I said, hey, that's a great idea. This week I've been working on my my website for my rentals. So again, talking about how what your collections do. My collection is usable for. I'll just show the website real quick. Share screen.
No. Do you have an insurance policy? So, like, let's say that one of these people drops something or breaks something.
They sign a waiver that basically they replace it at cost plus a certain percentage.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay.
So
I happen to think about that. I was like, what if something happens to it on set?
So, like, to give you an example, one of the last productions I rented to, they lost one of my Logitech inbox mice. So I had to find one that was exactly the same, and I found it on eBay. It was $75. So they ended up paying me $150 because they paid to replace it, but they also paid for the inconvenience of.
Oh, somebody on set's like, oh, that's cool as hell. I'm taking that with me.
Yeah, right. Now, in fairness, I believe they actually may have found it later on. And anyway, so this is the website is retrorentals.center. And it's basically just my collection. If you're in the film and TV production in Atlantic Canada, you can rent from my collection and use it in your film and television and other things. Like there are other people, you might rent it for other things too. But film and television is sort of most what I do. You can see some of my computers. I'm still adding to this, obviously, but each of the machines has a little blurb about it. Tells you sort of the year that it was, in use, some of the big things about it, and then what we offer in the way of additional add-ons for the device.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Just like I've added the Macintosh LC here this evening. So anyway, it's a cool little website. I'm very happy with it.
It looks nice.
It's nice. It's neat. They've been after me. The industry has been after me here for the last 3 years to do a website with a catalog. So finally, I'm able to get it finished. Again, my collection is 60 plus machines, and I've only got 4, 8, 12, 13 up there so far. And again, I have 20 plus gaming consoles, and I think I only have 1 up there so far. Yeah, I only have the Atari. And the same thing, I have hundreds of different pieces of telephony and generic electronics, and I think up there now it's just Xerox typewriter, the Commodore phone, and two televisions. Look.
Stony Trinitron, that's nice.
Retro Techie really wants this. Anyway, I digress, of course, but
looks nice though. I think it came out nice.
Yeah, I think it came out pretty good. Right. Anyway.
So, I don't really have anything else.
I don't either. Is there any questions in the audience that they want to answer that aren't Retro Techie asking me to send them something?
Yeah, without Trina's explicits, that cuts us about 20 minutes short.
I know, it's amazing. I'm the one who apparently rants, but we're 20 minutes short without her. So.
Sloopy has a question.
So question.
He raised his hand.
Okay, Sloopy, what is your question?
What blew up
Ryan's Vectrex? A 12 gauge shotgun shell full of birdshot. All right, how did you start in the rental business? That's actually funny. I was on set working completely unrelated to retro rentals, and it was at the school that I work at. They were filming a TV show, and the set deck lady walked in and saw that I had a Commodore 64 and a Commodore PET and an Apple Macintosh Classic on my desk, and I was just working on them. And she was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. You do retro tech." I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "What do you have?" And I explained all the different things I had. And she's like, "Oh, cool. I need this, 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 and this. Do you have any of it?" I'm like, "I do." She's like, "Cool. Bring it tomorrow, and we'll pay you lots of money." I was like, "Okay."
Okay, so this was Sloopy's question. Hang on one second. It's loading. It's loading.
Trina 2.
How do I take us? Hang on.
Now that can't be unseen, so you're welcome. So Rudy, so yeah, that's how I got into it, and I realized like here on the island, there's lots of film and television production. There's a few prop houses, but a lot of the stuff gets brought in from the mainland, and the people that bring it in, the set deck and the prop people, they end up having to buy it, and then they're stuck with it. So at the end of the run of the TV show or the end of the movie, they got to get rid of it. It's a liability. They got to sell it. They got to dispose of it. They just don't want to deal with it. They would much rather rent something and have somebody come on site, drop it off, come back and pick it up, or be there if they need me to make it work, and pay me to be there. Than they would rather have have to deal with themselves. Do your renters also ask for custom scripts, i.e. to run on the computers? Not usually, because CRTs, you can't really film them. So like every scene that I have that has CRT in it, they put this like masking over the CRT, and then they do a CRT image on it in post. So like if you watch the episode of Surreal Estate, which is about real estate agents who sell haunted and possessed and questionable houses, it's on Sci-Fi. There's a scene where they have this there's this episode in season 2 where they have this AI computer that tries to take over the world. It's like from '95. It's one of my Hewlett Packards. They never actually plugged it in the entire time it was there, and the screen that you see in the shot is 100% post. It's done with CGI. So, but yeah, if there was like laptops and stuff, like the only time I've done a custom script is I ran this on a laptop that had like a matte LCD screen, which you could film. I had like almost like the Matrix running. It looked like it was like somebody was hacking. It's a website you can go to. And if I find the URL, I'll send it. But it full screen it, and it's a website, and it's got like code coming down one side, and it's got like a bar graph, and it's like what Hollywood thinks is someone hacking. I had that running on a laptop. My question is, does Frank do Passover, and did he eat bread yesterday?
Oh no, because I wouldn't be able to anyway, because I do eat processed foods and oatmeal and leavened bread and all that good stuff. So yeah, no.
So you're going to Jewish mom hell.
Yeah, that's true.
Are you aware of Jewish mother hell? It's hell.
Who isn't?
You're yelled at by your mother the entire time.
War games used Apple IIs for the screens. That reminds me of what was the one that you were playing? The video was an ASCII.
The Matrix?
The Matrix. There you go.
Yeah. Well, in the Matrix, they actually use in the Matrix 2 when Trinity is actually hacking that water treatment plant or whatever it is. That exploit she uses is an actual buffer overload exploit for Secure Show. Like it's actually they actually did a proper. It was a legit hack. Now, obviously, it had been patched, but it was an actual legit hack, which I thought was awesome, as opposed to Swordfish, which is like, you better hack this thing in 2 minutes or I'm going to shoot you in the head. It's like, it's not how it works.
Yeah.
Worst poster ever. Do you set up the machines and allow the renters to do it? Usually the renters do it with direction from me. So if they have any questions about how to plug in, one of my biggest pet peeves, which I tell everyone who rents from me, is when I see computers used in television shows and they're not plugged in, or the monitor's not connected, or there's no keyboard or mouse connected. So I get pretty upset when I see that in movies. So I make sure that I say that, make sure you plug everything in. If you can't, let me know. Ryan asking, is my friend has the largest Commodore collection I've ever seen. He could do that. Yeah, sure, definitely. The big thing is to just set up a website and reach out to different production houses and say, hey, this is what I do.
I thought that was cool as well, Rudy. The VIC-20s and John Wick. Yeah.
Now, did you see Did you see the VIC-20s, or they might have been Commodore 64s in The Mandalorian? They actually had them caught up.
I missed that.
They just had the keyboard, and they had the, where's my broken Commodore? It was like this. It was like just the keyboard mounted in a console.
Oh, yeah.
But you could tell it was a Commodore keyboard.
Commodore keyboard.
Yeah.
Now, do you have anything Doctor Who related for us this episode?
Me? I don't, but you have something cool that
normally you mention it.
Oh, Doctor Who. Oh, actually, I do. This past weekend, we had the science fiction convention here in St. John's called Sci-Fi on the Rock, where we attended. And one of the guests was the puppeteer of the Meep from last seasons of Doctor Who. Yeah.
That's
the
hilarious.
Evil space monkey? Rabbit?
No, what was it? He was a Goblin King.
No, he was also the Goblin King. Yes, in what's it called?
The newer one. What was it?
The Hobbit. The Hobbit.
No. On the Doctor Who episode.
Oh yes, he was the Goblin King, and yes.
Yes.
But the Meep was that white furry creature that landed in the girl's shed.
What were you gonna say before that?
I was going to say you've got something that's pretty cool from a TV show that we both like. It's not Doctor Who related. I don't know if you're willing to show your cool new purchase.
Oh, when it comes.
Oh, when it comes. Okay, so
yes.
we'll leave the suspense.
It's too hard to show on the thing with the tilting of the video. Michigan may be passing new legislation to support local movie production again. I wonder if I could piggyback on that. Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I mean,
I would have never thought about that until I saw Ryan mention it before.
Yeah, because
I think it's pretty cool.
I watch. I don't know if you guys, again, automotive seems to overlap very heavily with retro tech sometimes. VinWiki is a channel that I watch. It's an app you can get to talk to, sort of like follow your car and all the mods you do. But anyway, they interview people. One of the people they interview, he was the me of cars for movies. So he's the car finder, the car whisperer. He finds cars for productions, and he, will literally give his life to protect those cars on set. And so he went on kind of a long spiel 3 or 4 years ago on VinWiki, and that kind of got me thinking.
He definitely didn't do Supernatural then. God, how many Impalas they went through.
Well, put it this way, you cannot find a 4-door Impala in Canada.
Yeah, my God.
They don't exist. I think they killed I want to say it was 210.
There was a lot. Yeah, they went through quite a few of them.
Yeah. Much like the Dukes of Hazzard, which is also another VinWiki episode where they meet the guy who found the first Dukes of Hazzard car.
Oh, no kidding.
And rescued it and restored it. Yeah, it's Duke. It's generally number 1.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, but anyway, and that sort of got me thinking. Well, if he can do it for cars, why can't I do it for retro tech? And that's the other thing too, is if I don't have something, they'll still ask me, and I can find it. So because I have all the connections with everybody here, if I'm like, hey, I need this, but I don't have it, I can call Frank, or I can call Rudy, or I wouldn't call Retro Techie, but I could call anybody and ask them, hey, I need to borrow this. I'll split the profits with you, kind of thing, right? So there's opportunities, and this community is so big that depending on the production, like what's it called was filmed here, Severance. Is it Severance? The Apple TV show with it's directed by George Costanza's father's son. The hell's his name? Ben Stiller. Thank you.
Ben Stiller, yes.
Yeah. So that was filmed here, and they had a huge production, but they brought everything in. They didn't realize we had a lot of.
Call Trina, but she'd be sleeping. That's very true.
You could call Trina.
Good luck.
But yeah, they shipped a lot of their stuff in because they didn't think we had stuff here on the island. So promotion is key. That's why I'm doing a website and paying for some Google ads.
That's a good idea.
So.
Because I can't tell you how many TV shows or movies that I've seen where that the tech doesn't match what it's supposed to be.
There's a new one that I watched recently. It's a Netflix one where they're talking about it being a 386, but it's clearly like a Pentium 4. Yeah, I'm like,
yeah. People are gonna know.
It really angered me.
But yeah, I think having a place to go. I know we talked about this pre-stream. Yeah. Where you can go on the website and you could just pick a decade and say, okay, I'm looking for something 70s. Yeah. And then you can click that. It shows you everything from the 70s that you can.
And they're like, oh, do I want a Commodore or PET, or do I want a Apple II Plus?
Well, sure. It's like, oh, I need a 70s home, computer, or I need a 70s office computer, so depending on what it is they're looking for, I think it's great that you have the ability to sort and then have it broken with the date ranges and stuff as well, so that because a lot of them may not know.
No, Well, that's the thing too. The set deck people and the props people, they only know what they know, and they will leverage knowledge from somebody else.
What site? The one that Ryan has?
Yeah, I'll put in that it's retro. There you go.
RetroRentals.center. There you go. I recall asking someone about retro film props. Oh, they want everything without paying a dime. And some production places are probably like that, but
yeah, not here. Like I've been.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say I made $1 million off it. I'm not going to say I made $100,000 off it, but I made enough money to justify buying more for the collection and for actively paying to maintain a website and to be actively involved in reaching out to different areas of the community. So
I think it's cool. Like, it's definitely a neat idea. I mean, they
like
got to get it from somewhere.
They got to get it from somewhere, and oftentimes they got to buy it. And the worst part is, so I'll give you an example. They were filming a TV show. I'm not going to say the TV show, but anyway, they were filming a TV show here. They needed a VCR for the scene. They wanted a top loader because the original story, it was specifically there was a top loader.
Yep.
The set deck people could only find 1990s and early 2000s black front loading cheap as chips VCRs. Yep. Like the last of the VCR lines. I happen to have a Hitachi top mount wood grain with what's the word, the chrome sort of like brushed aluminum front, big buttons. Anyway, I actually had a case that it fit in, and that was the whole point. Is this scene the kids rented a VCR from the movie store, because at the time you could rent VHS players if you didn't have one.
Sure.
Anyway, they had to get it for me because they couldn't get it anywhere else, and it was too late for them to order it. And again, you ship in a VCR, so you buy a VCR on eBay right now. Well, they've gone through the roof. In price. They're probably $100
I had a heck of a time
now.
Finding one recently.
Right, you probably pay $100 for it, and they weigh a ton, so you're going to ship it in. You don't know if it works. Not that it needed to work for the scene, but it's helpful. So you're going to pay $50 to ship it in, so you're up to $150 now. You get it on set, and it might not be the right thing, or you can rent it to me for $100, and you don't have to deal with it. Most places are like, "Yep, that makes total sense."
Yep.
Right. The big thing is not having to deal with it. Like, you have to realize every prop, and again, I'm only speaking from my experience, but everything they put into a set has to come off that set and go somewhere.
Yep.
All right. So if there's one less thing they have to fuck around with, then they're gonna,
convenience.
Convenience. They're paying the convenience fee. Sure, I could change my own oil in the car for $5, or I could do that drive-through place for $15 or whatever it is. Difference of 50 and 100. You're paying for the convenience. So.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But that is a cool idea. I think it's really neat. But yeah, like you said, that's one of the things that gets me the most times when they show a scene and they're actively using something that has no power plug, or like you can clearly see it's just no cords.
I'll tell you another one. I watched I want to say it was that N64 or NES game movie. Was it 8-Bit Christmas? I think it was 8-Bit Christmas with Neil Patrick Harris. Great movie. They did a very, very good job. But the one thing they did, which really pissed me off, was they clearly had a television from like 2001. They didn't get a floor model TV. They had this like silver box TV that kind of looked like a flat screen Trinitron sitting on top of like a wooden cabinet, and that was in the living room. And it was supposed to be like 1987 or 1988. I'm like, no, that's not right. Floor model, people, floor model. So every time I see a floor model television at auction, I usually buy it because they're becoming few and far between.
Do they do long-term rentals for TV series?
Usually they rent it. Like the longest something I've had rented probably was for a month, maybe month and a half. It depends. Usually they try to, like, if they're filming a scene, they'll like rent it, film it, and then give it back to you because they got to go. They got a million other things they got to do. Ryan, do you rent out Retro Techie? Only if you require certain things taken. Trina wants to know. Only if you require certain things you need taken care of. But I'm telling you, for every person that hits the like button on Retro Techie's YouTube channel, you get yourself this cool Retro Techie hat.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Limited time giveaway.
Yeah. So.
Just so limited, they're gone.
They're gone. Sorry, they're all gone now.
Kind of reminds me on B Movie where they're showing the jobs available. Oh, opening. Oh, closed. Opening. Yep. Every time one dies. Oh, it's open.
Yeah, it's closed. Good movie.
Oh man.
But yeah, so it's interesting. And I mean, I'm only in a very small film area. Like if I was in Los Angeles, I'm sure this would be a completely different story. Mostly because the big prop houses out there would have most of the things covered. But
a lot of the prop houses out there have like warehouses full of
hundreds of millions of square feet
and computers, right? And
right? Like for me, the thing that I'm trying to actively do now is build sets of things. So like I have about 7 or 8 Macintosh compact Macs, like like this,
like SEs pluses,
SEs pluses. I know it's going to, again, that might piss a lot of people off, and in a scene, but we're beggars can't be choosers. There'll be a scene probably where you see a computer lab, and there'll be like 7 or 8 different computers, but they're all Mac, compact Macs, right?
Yeah.
I have the same thing. I have about 7 or 8 now LC1, LCs, LC2s, LC3s,
yep,
475s, with the idea that at some point I'm probably going to need to do a computer lab or like an office layout. So, having similar sets of things is important.
That's a good idea. Further, Ryan, check Discord. Okay, let me see.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice.
You are one lucky SOB, my friend.
That's an IBM F
for anybody
keyboard.
Well, and the computer to go with it.
Is that a 5150?
It looks like a 5150, or is it a 5160?
I don't know.
Hold on. Enhance. That's a 5150.
It's very nice shape. Monitor, everything.
Brilliant.
Hey, look, my computers are next to it.
Yeah, cool. 5150 and a monochrome green monitor. Oh, sir, are the man. That is beautiful. I am jealous. Sorry, I'll present, share screen, window, Discord. Why won't it show me my Discord window? Why won't you let me share the Discord window? Ah, there it is. Share. Do. There you go. Now everybody can see it. That's awesome. Nice. I am very, and look, I'm gonna even.
Yeah. That is very nice. Yeah.
Where's the erection emoji?
It's in there. Type in eggplant.
Egg. Oh,
there you are.
There we go.
Yeah, the keyboard's really nice too.
Yeah, it is. Anyway, so, and again, that's usually how I find stuff too. Like that exact same thing. It's like, oh, it just randomly showed up somewhere. Cool. That's awesome. And it came with the dust cover. I remember the dust covers. I have dust covers for my my Commodore PET.
Don't they call them keyboard foreskins? Or is that not a thing?
I believe the condoms. They're referred to as computer condoms.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. That's awesome. So here you go. Awesome. Dave, it's going to be on Dave's stream on Sunday. So everybody check out.
Tune in to Dave's Vintage Apple Tech on Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to see Gut Bomb's new 5150.
But also tomorrow, Big Bad Biologist streams Saturdays at noon. Eastern.
And John, what are we discussing this weekend or this week?
Let me see.
I assume he's going to make something an abomination. It's sort of how he rolls.
See if I could find it. Here we go. That was wait. Yeah, this one's for tomorrow. Okay. Finishing the restoration of Apple II Plus for April apples and checking out a Power Mac 7100.
Nice.
So a couple things for tomorrow. And actually, let me copy and paste the link.
There you go.
There we go.
And Gutbomb, when are you and Trina going to be playing X-Files again? And that's not a euphemism.
Who says they're not?
That they actually are playing the X-Files video game.
The truth is out there.
The truth is out there, and it is questionable. Yes, and as always, people remember to subscribe to Retro Techie's channel. We're trying to get him to 7,000 friends.
That's right.
Once he gets to 7,000 friends, he's going to give me his TAM.
When the Blue Scuzzies and Pico guest cards aren't on his bench anymore.
Fair enough. Yeah, Gut Bob is pretty busy.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, for anybody who is joining us and is not aware, if you need some cool stuff for your vintage computer, you want to head over to jcm-1.com. Find purveyor of all things retro tech. If you need it,
that is true.
Joe's got it. And even if you don't need it, it might still come in handy.
Brief story. Francois says, and then he can get sponsored by PCBWay. We were sponsored by PCBWay very briefly.
Yeah,
that's
for
right.
1 month.
That's
and
right.
Someday we hope to be sponsored again by somebody else.
That's true. Anybody else.
As well, I'm going to do a shout out to don'tmesswithretro.com.
Yep.
That's our website that we maintain to expose and try to stop retro tech fraud in our community. So feel free to stop over there and get the latest and greatest news on what it is we're doing to keep us safe. As well, we also have a new website that we're running with the Naboo Network called thenaboonetwork.com. Feel free to head over there as well to check out all things Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
a lot going on with the Naboo.
A lot going on. And yeah, it's going to be good. And of course, being it is April, it's April apples. So we have exactly what? 1, 2, 3, 4 more days.
You know, we never did create anything like a Patreon or anything like that for the stream.
I mean, again, I'm of the mindset that, you know,
we appreciate people just being here. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, your presence is enough payment for us. So thank you. But I will say again, too, speaking of Rudy, if you're in the Canadian land area and need anything fixed from a VIC-20 to a Commodore PET to, I don't know, Rudy might even come out and change the tires on your car for you. I don't know. He's a pretty nice fellow. Yeah. So
Will's talking about pulling his Naboo back out and setting up with the new stuff. They come out with a bunch of stuff over the last couple months.
Did I not see there was some sort of streaming thing last week?
So yes, there is a video feature that they created that you can hook up a camera to your Naboo.
That's what it is.
There is a music streaming ability now where they loaded some 80s music onto the thing, so you can actually stream 80s music to your Naboo.
Nice.
There's been a lot of updates with the adapter. A lot of other stuff going on. There's a YouTube video, somebody reverse engineered the Naboo adapter.
Okay.
And was able to figure out exactly how it works as far as the cable and stuff like that. Oh yeah. That's a good idea too. You could put sponsors logos on your stream. So like either before or after the show or whatever, you know, as part of the thing. Yep. That's a good idea.
For sure. It's a good idea.
Yep.
And like I said, going back to Rudy, if you need something fixed, Rudy is your man in Canada.
That's true.
Rudy fixed my Commodore PET for me. And he helped out another friend of the channel, Mark, with his Commodore PET problem.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if you need something that's a little bit beyond your skill, Rudy is the man. So highly recommend.
Are you saying if you have a pet problem?
Yes, and you didn't spade or neuter.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rudy is right up.
Rudy is the Price is Right.
He's got soft hands
of Canada.
A gentle touch.
Gentle touch. Yeah.
That's right.
Cool. But yeah, so that it's been a pretty busy week. It's pretty. It's going to be a busy weekend here at the Broken Garage. Any plans? Anything coming up for you, Frank? I know you're heading to some sort of farm tomorrow. That's exciting.
Yep. We're busy. Pretty busy this weekend. We got a lot going on. But yeah, we got that tomorrow, and then got some other stuff planned for Sunday. So it's going to be busy. And then of course Dave stream. You know, at some point. There you go. Will wants to know if Rudy can walk his pet for him in the AM and the PM.
I mean, anything's possible.
That's true.
He is Rudy.
That's true.
For me, like I said, I'm going to be picking up some of those retro goodies tomorrow. I'm still on the hunt for a SX64 keyboard and cable. If anybody has a lead on one, I would love to get one so that I can actually rent my SX64 out to the film industry this summer. So if you know of any or you yourself have one, hit me up. You can find me on the socials. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me. I'm not hard to find. You can find me through the Retro Rentals.center website, which also has my phone number, so you can just give me a call. Yeah. So besides that, I don't think I have anything else coming up this weekend. We're installing our new stove for the first time, which is exciting.
Oh, awesome.
finally got a chance to actually, like, we literally came out of Easter break, the first week back to school, and then it was the science fiction convention. So I'm like 3 weekends behind on the honey-do list. I also recently got a mini split delivered. So I'm starting the planning process of where that's going to go and doing the install. I've got the cable to do to run, and I also just landed 2 more websites this week. And what else did I do? I'm actually installing, which I'm very excited about, for the first time installing it, Unify Ubiquity Networks door access system.
Oh, so awesome!
Like key fobs for doors.
Yep, exactly.
It's pretty slick. So I'm very excited. So I'm hoping to start installing that next week or the week after at a client's office. So
Rudy says if you need any SX keys, he has some.
Okay. Yeah, no, I just need the keyboard. See, my SX, I bought it off a lady whose husband was a local repair guy on the west coast of Newfoundland. And so he kept all the Commodore stuff. So I got 2 Amiga 500s. I got the SX64. I got Mark's Commodore PET. And I also got the exploded rest in pieces Commodore 64. And I got about 12, I think, 1541 disc 2 disc drives.
Yep.
So yeah, she said it didn't come with the keyboard. Her son thought he remembered it having the keyboard, but they couldn't find it. So I've been kind of at a loss. I can turn it on; it works. I can see the prompt, but I can't do anything.
Oh, that's awesome.
My other option is I'm wondering, can I wire up a wire? And
I wonder if somebody has made an adapter
and 3D print a case for this.
He can
make my own
C64. He says
I can fix your C. Well, I don't know if you can fix that, Rudy. That's pretty. She went for a bit of a flight.
A tumble.
Well, see, it's all Retro Techie's fault, because he said, "Oh, Joe's here. Hey, Joe." He said that looks like it's going to fall, and I said it's not going to fall. And then I flicked it with my finger, and it did fall, and then it exploded.
I see that.
Yeah, but it still works. Funnily enough, so
wow.
So I think this one's going to Joe, or it's going to Gut Bomb. I don't remember. One of them wanted it. Either way, I honestly just wanted the keyboard, which has a broken stem on it now since the accident, but that's fine.
It's got character now.
It's character, yeah. And a character ROM.
That's true.
Retro Techie, I just came back to this horrible image. I kind of wish I had recorded it exploding. Oh, yeah, Gut Bomb wants the VIC-20. Yeah, I also have a pile of VIC-20s. No? Okay.
Joe says no.
Somebody asked for the board, and I don't know who. Someone was like, "Oh, well, I'll have the board." And I was like, "Okay, I'll send it to you." I thought for sure it was Joe. Maybe it was the
VIC-20. Sloopy.
Could have been Sloopy, yeah. Rudy says, "I have keyboard stems." Yeah, I actually started 3D printing some the other day. I got a design off Thinkerverse, and we're actually unboxing our X1 Carbon. So I'm very excited to get that up and running and actually use it at the school. So
awesome!
I'll let you know how that goes. I know that you've had great experience with yours.
Yep. I've used mine more in the last few months than I did the entire year. So, yes.
Fun.
Now that it's actually in a permanent space, it's much easier to use.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess we can probably end it here now.
Yep.
I mean, it's been an hour and 8 minutes.
Correct.
Any last-minute pearls of wisdom or thoughts or anything you want to discuss before we call it a night? Any questions in the audience? We'll hold the open for. I don't know what it is, but somebody stinks a pot all of a sudden.
Neighbors put their windows down?
I think so. I think someone's out smoking pot. Jesus says, "Have a great weekend." Well, thank you, Jesus. I plan to, and we'll see you Sunday at Dave's stream, not church. See what I did there? No,
indeed.
No. Okay. Anyway, Good night, everybody.
Good night, all.
Thanks for being here. We'll see you all. We're gonna head over to the voice chat now and have
on the Discord,
after hours chat. So we'll see everybody over there.
Yep. See you all there. Bye.